Jayam Vishnu Padaparamhamsa Parakacharya Asatara Shishimad Asa Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnu Padaparamhamsa Parakacharya Asatara Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantikoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Vedi Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Samakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dhamma Ki Jai. Mathura Dhamma Ki Jai. Navadipa Dhamma Ki Jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the Semple devotees. All glories to Semple devotees. All glories to Semple devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Savior of the whole world, Ki Jai. We're reading from Caitanya Caritamrita today. That's very nice. And we've got text number 22, and by His Divine Grace, Asa Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Adi-lila, chapter 14, text 22. Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes. So we've got purport and translation by Srila Prabhupada. Gentlemen. So we're reading the translation. The Lord caused all the ladies to chant the holy names of Hare Krishna mantra on the plea of his crying, and while they chanted, the Lord would smile. Repeat. The Lord caused all the ladies to chant the holy names of Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the plea of his crying, and while they chanted, the Lord would smile. Ooh, this is a nice verse. And it's about ladies, and I got invited to do this one today. Purport. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, this pastime is described as follows. The Lord with his beautiful eyes would cry, but he would stop immediately upon hearing the Hare Krishna mantra. When the ladies, understanding the fun of the Lord, discovered that he would cry and then stop upon hearing the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, they all took it as a clue to chant Hare Krishna as soon as the Lord cried. Thus it became a regular function. The Lord would cry and the ladies would begin chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, clapping with their hands. In this way, all the ladies of the neighboring houses would assemble in the home of Sachimata to join in the Sankirtan movement 24 hours a day. As long as the ladies continued to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, the Lord would not cry, but very pleasingly smile upon them. So now we know how to capture Lord Chaitanya. So that's a lovely verse, isn't it? And it's on such an auspicious day as Radha Govardhana Dari's appearance. This is the day they first came to New Govardhana. I wasn't here, but I came a year after. You said they got installed in 1980?
79.
No, 79, the other deities. Yeah, 79, so we come 1 year later. And the next year, Gauni Tai and Krishna Balaram got installed. There's something special, and I think they've still got it. When they were about to install Krishna Balaram, they didn't have a flute. And Himavati, Hamsaduta's wife, she'd given me a beautiful brass flute. She said, "Here, this is for you." Because we had little tiny deities there in Germany, Radha Madam Mahan. And so she gave me that flute, and so I kept it. And my husband came because he was going to be the Pujari for Krishna Balaram. And he said, "Surabhi, will you give that flute to Krishna Balaram?" And I said, but it's already been used. And he said, "Don't worry, we'll fix that." They soak it in milk. So if you see a beautiful brass flute there, then Mother Surabhi donated that for me. So that's nice. So what a wonderful pastime we have here. The Lord caused all the ladies to chant the holy names of the Hare Krishna mantra on the plea of his crying. And while they chanted, the Lord would smile. Isn't that beautiful? Could you imagine? Just sit there for a moment and just imagine Lord Chaitanya crying and the ladies chanting, and he's got this big smile on his face, because he was very much a trickster, you know, Lord Chaitanya. He was very much a trickster. He used to play tricks all the time to get the devotees to engage people, isn't it? Yeah, and so there's, even when he was a little boy, you see, the little boys, they get up to tricks. I know I've got a grandson. I've got 4 grandsons and 4 granddaughters, and I've got a very naughty grandson, and he's always up to tricks. But somehow or other, he came here the other day, and he was very good the whole time. Yeah. But outside the temple, he is so naughty. But Lord Chaitanya was naughty, wasn't he? Lord Chaitanya used to go down to the Ganges River and he'd throw water over the Brahmins who were doing their sacrifices and that, because he knew it was all nonsense what they were doing. They were doing all their worship and not for Krishna, so he used to do that to disturb them, isn't it? Is that right? Do you remember? You read that story? Okay. I'm going to capture you and ask you questions after. And so, if we want to become Krishna conscious, then we have to follow what Prabhupada's written in his books. So this is a nice little pastime, isn't it? And Prabhupada told us that. He said, all the answers to any of your problems are in my books. Right? So we must read. It's very, very important every day that we try to at least read a few pages from the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Caitanya Caritamrita. If you can read every day those three, of course there's plenty of other books Prabhupada's written to read, but if you can read those three every day, a few pages, if you can read half an hour, if you can read an hour, Prabhupada said at least an hour, but we do have a busy life, especially when you're a grandma and you've got naughty grandchildren to take care of and wake up at 5:30 in the morning. So I seem to be getting up every day a little earlier, like, okay, I can't fit it all in if I get up at 4 o'clock. I can't fit it all in if I get up at 3 o'clock. So now I get up at 2 o'clock. Because I gotta get up before those little cheeky monkeys get up, because they disturb my japa and my reading. So you've gotta make yourself a nice plan of how to make your day a perfect day. And the most perfect Prabhupada taught us, he says, rise early before 4 a.m. and follow the whole morning program, and your day will be
successful.
What?
Successful.
So no, there's one special word. No one has read Prabhupada's books that they don't know this, or heard his classes. What is it? Auspicious. He says, follow the whole morning program and your whole day will be auspicious. Right? And he said another thing too. And he used that analogy not of his own, but he said, early to bed, early to rise, makes you healthy, wealthy and wise. So if you have to have a pattern, to do it. Every day, try to get up at the same time. Go to bed early. Makes you healthy, wealthy and wise. And the farmers do it. The farmers, they go to bed early and they get up early because they've got a whole lot of babies out there crying. Isn't it? We want to be milked. And so, in the same way, those farmers, that milking of the cows and their pattern for that day is their livelihood. And if they don't milk those cows, all hell will break loose. The cows will get mastitis because they've not been milked, right? And in that way, their whole business is a flop. So that's important. So if the non-devotee farmers can do it, what about us? Right? So how many of you are getting up for Mangalati every day? Oh, that is not very good. So you've heard what Prabhupada said now. From now on, you've got to make a very big effort. Don't let the bed tell you what to do. What does the bed tell you what to do? What does that nice, gorgeous, warm bed in the winter telling you what to do? Huh? Sleep in. Right? So and I tell you, if you sleep in, you miss out on so much nectar. Isn't it, Rupa? Isn't it, Kali Krishna? I mean, No, Krishna Kirtan, isn't it? Isn't it? Right? So you have to be convinced that what Prabhupada's given us is perfect. And so in that way, you become so enthusiastic. Once you keep doing it, you get such a taste, don't you? You get a taste that no way in the world am I going to sleep in. Maybe if you're very, very, very sick. And even Prabhupada, when the devotees were sick, he'd say, where's such and such? Why isn't he at Mangalati? He was very strict, Srila Prabhupada. He knew everything. You couldn't hide anything from Srila Prabhupada. He knew who was at Mangalati and who wasn't. Right? How about that? Eh? So, but you've got to remember, he's right there, just there. He knows all about you. So in the same way, Lord Chaitanya, he knew all about those ladies, and he knew that they loved to see him smile, right? So when he'd cry, they'd chant Hare Krishna, and that was the only way he would smile. Of course, when he got bigger, he used to smile all the time. What's Lord Chaitanya's favourite thing that he likes to do? Tell me. What's Lord Chaitanya's favourite pastime? You have to talk loud. Harinam Sankirtan? What? Eat prasadam? Mataji? There must be something. And you know what? It's not eating prasadam. It's not chanting Hare Krishna. He does love chanting Hare Krishna, but his most favourite thing is to serve the devotees. That's his favourite thing. He loves to serve the devotees. He'll do anything to serve the devotees. You read so many beautiful pastimes where Lord Chaitanya cooks a feast for Haridas Thakur, and he takes Haridas Thakur's body in his hands and he chants Hare Krishna, and he even dances around in circles with his body, and then afterwards they have a huge big feast and Lord Chaitanya serves everyone, right? So if you really want to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, you have to serve the devotees, to look after the devotees, right? One time I was in Mayapur, and I'd just come there after having an operation in Bhaktivedanta Hospital. And somehow or other, something happened when I had that operation. I just had no fear at all. And Jayapata, I went and sat up the top where the sannyasis and the, temple presidents and all the devotees that like to hop in with them. They were sitting up there, and there was these two girls, and they were two devotees. They were sitting on a mattress. And I thought, I can't sit down here where they have 10,000 devotees. They're going to kick me and shove me, and my operation will come open. And I was really scared. And so I thought, hey, I should be sitting there. And so I got up. Immediately the girls scattered. And I sat down there on the mattress. And Jayapataka Maharaj was very happy. And he said, if anyone wants to speak, then they can write their name in this book. Any of my God brothers and sisters, anyone wants to speak, then they can write their name in this book. And this was at the Yoga Pit, part of the Parakram. The first stop on the Parakram, on the first day, you go to Lord Chaitanya's birthplace. It's the first place you go. And all the devotees go there. We all walk from Mayapur to that place, and we all gather at the Yoga Pit. And then they have a class. And this was when they were getting ready for the class. Anyway, I said to the devotee, I just tapped the brahmachari, and I said, can I have the book? No way. I said, you ask him. I said, is he your spiritual master? And he said, yes. And I said, you ask him. He said we can write our names in the book. And he turned around and he said, Maharaj, she wants to write her name in the book. He said, give her the book. Anyway, I'm thinking I'm going to be sitting there for a while before I get to talk. And so I went off to the bathroom, and I came back, and Maharaj said, "Where did you go?" And I said, "I had to go to the bathroom." And I said, "You want me to talk now?" And he said, "Yes." And so I got up, and something happened when I had that operation. I think Nisringadev must have been around, because I got up in front of those 5,000 devotees, and I could talk, you know. And I'm going, wow, what happened here? I don't usually, I'm a bit shy usually, but not anymore, as you can see. And they were all talking, oh my God, brothers and the sannyasis, they were all talking about how you could make 100% advancement by going on the parikram. And I said, I want to tell you something. I said, do you know how you can make thousands of percent by going on the parikram? And they're going, oh, everyone in the whole auditorium went, yeah, you know. And I said, so what's Lord Chaitanya's favorite thing? And then I said to them, we find no one guessed, just like you didn't guess, what Lord Chaitanya's favorite thing was, serving the devotees. And so I said to them, when you go on the parikram, if you want to make 1,000 times more advancement than the 100, I said, you have to do this. And I told them what it was. And then I said, so when you're on the parikram, if you see a devotee walking along and they've clipped their toe, I said, we have a mobile, what do they call it, Medicare thing. So you got to take them over and help them. And another thing you can do, the devotees are walking around, you go, and you can see they're thirsty, then you go and get a bottle of water and give it to them. And you see the devotee just struggling along. I said, call them a rickshaw, right? And I said, then you'll make 1,000 times more than 100 if you go on the parikram. And that's all I said. And the whole auditorium roared! And then after that, every day I had to chant my rounds before I went out on that parikram, because the devotees were lining up as soon as I got off the bus. So Krishna kind of forced me. And also, the only way you can get your rounds done nicely in Mayapur, it's a festival, because what happens after the Mangalati? You live there.
Class?
No. Announcements. And they can go on and on and on. You can be 5:45 and you still haven't finished. Oh no, I've only got 20 minutes to finish my rounds, you know, until Lord Nisringadev Archie comes. So from that day on, I just said, I have to be in the temple by 3 o'clock. So I got up every day at 2. So I was forced to, you know, increase my time. And I got all my rounds done before Mangalati. And what a taste! What a wonderful taste! Have you tried it? Has anyone tried that? Has anyone tried even getting up and doing 1 round before Mangalati? Mm-hmm. Anyway, then the devotees used to come up to me and they said, Mataji, please give us your blessing. And I touched my hand on their head and I said, I bless you that you may get up before Mangalati and chant some rounds, because they'll be the best ones you've ever chanted. And guess what happened? What do you think happened? Right? Then 2 days later, those devotees, like 5 devotees from Russia, they ran over to me and they went, Mataji, you're right. We tried it and you're right. And then for a few years, it's going to Mayapur, and I was always there at 3 o'clock in the morning, and slowly it started to increase. But now when you go to Mayapur, this is 4 years ago when I went last time, there's about 300 devotees there by 3:30, all chanting their rounds. So there you go. We teach by example, isn't it? So what a nectar. Anyway, I can't say too much because I did start late. Anyone got any questions? Because we've only got 10 minutes left, right? Yeah, it's 20 past. Okay. So anyone got any questions?
Can you tell some pastimes of your time when you go to them?
Yes, of course. I have many pastimes. Well, Radha Govardhana Dari, they're very, very special to me. I came here with my husband and my 2 children, and immediately they made me the cook. They found out from the woodwork that I could cook, right? And so I used to cook the breakfast, and then I cooked breakfast, and it was for all the devotees and the Gurukul children at the time. And then I cooked the lunch also many times. So every time I come here, Radha Govardhana Dari's got a huge big smile on their face. And I think, I wonder why they're smiling at me. But I think they can remember that time when I was here. Because I 14 years since 1980, 1994. But they always smile at me. So these are very, 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 very special deities, Radha Govardhana Dari. We can't even imagine how special they are. So let's think of some special pastimes. That's one from me. Well, why don't we just get devotees who were there at that time? Krishna Kirtan, you came after the...
I was in Sydney, but I visited for installation.
Yeah, but did you have any special pastimes, like when you came here the first time and you seen them? What did you think? Or how did you...
I can't remember the first time I saw these because I was pretty spaced out. All I can remember is the austerities of the time here. There's a brahmachari ashram with an old, rusty old bus parked on the side of the hill. So you had to sleep sort of sideways. And it was very simple. The stove was a wood stove, they had to chop wood if they had to cook.
Yeah, many burns on the hands.
Yes. And it's a lot more simple. And I mean, when the year that Gauri Tai and Krishna came, that was quite a wonderful festival. We came from all over Australia and New Zealand for 3 days and an installation ceremony.
Really beautiful.
It was a bit dramatic in those days because you wouldn't do what we did then. I think Bhavananda was the Guruji of his time. After the deeds were installed, the first offering was made. He stepped onto the altar and took the shamra off the devi's plate and threw it out to us.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they used to do mad things.
Maybe Prabhu.
Can you remember Prabhu anything? No? What about, can you remember any pastimes from when you were with him? Because Prabhu lived here. Something nice that you remember?
I was fortunate enough to be here when they were installed. So it was
Nice.
pretty lucky. But I was just
Put the mic.
a visiting devotee from another temple. And then I ended up living here and pretty much did your program, cooked the breakfast and the lunches.
Yeah.
Probably after you did your little time there. And as Krishna Kirtan said, it was very simple. Yeah, my first memories was arriving here and driving up the hill, which was a rickety road. It wasn't like a nice smooth road like now. And
Getting another mic for you.
See, even the pastimes that we remember about New Govardhan, they do relate to Radha Govardhana Dari, because there were things, like the time when we had so many pumpkins, And Sababani would say to us, now you have to make pumpkins every day for breakfast and lunch, right? I made the breakfast and my husband made the lunch. I made the best breakfasts. And I made baked pumpkins and everyone loved them. But when my husband made the sabji, it was yucky. But there's another pastime that I can remember. This would be magnanimous for Radha Govardhana Dari too. Well, when I first came here and I went to Prasadam on the first day, all the men were eating out the back, right? They had the pots, and all the children from the Gurukul, maybe 10 children, and the Gurukul teachers and the Madhishas were sitting under that tree over there. And I said to them, where's the Prasadam? Oh, they said it's around the corner. The men get first. I said, ladies and children, guess what? From this day, tomorrow, I'm the cook. And I said, this is the last day that's going to happen. And I went around there and I said, can we have the buckets? And look in there, they're almost empty. And I said, you mean guys, how can you do this? I said, there's women and children around the corner and you're just sitting there yucking it up together and the prasadam's going cold, and besides that you've eaten practically everything, and there's all these children. I said, some of them are yours, you know. And I think Radha Govardhana Dari was very pleased on that day. So then from that day on, Surabhi Maji became the cook. And to the disgust of Sababani, I used to split the prasadam in two and the maha in two. We almost had a war about that, but I stuck to my guns. I'd send them out of the kitchen, and send these thuggies around and say, where's the maha prasadam? And I said, it's not ready, get out of here. I was tough. Anyway, and then he'd come send them around again. I said, it's not ready. And sent them away again. Oh, was he mad? But from that day on, an amazing event happened. The women got maha in one tray, and the men got maha in one tray, and all the prasadam was split in half. So that was a very important day about New Govardhana. The Radha Govardhana Hari, they sanction it. So they're the stories that I know. I know lots of stories about the old days and how it was, and we lived in caravans, and it was tough because Madhajis were not treated very nicely, yeah, and children. But it's changed now. And another story I'll tell you, this is an important story. And Radha Govardhana Dari would be very pleased with this one too. They were a tough lot, those men in those days, you remember? All the men used to chant in the temple after Mangalati. And where did the women chant? They went home and fell asleep. And I was the only one that stayed here. And I chanted in the cold for about, God knows, I was here for 14 years, about 8 years. And one time I went to Mayapur, and Jadharani was giving a class. And I said, can I ask a question? She said, yes. I said, on our farm, the women chant out in the cold and the men chant inside. She said, change it or leave. Leave, right? So I went back, I came back from India, and I said, my god sister, our senior god sister at the time, told me, if you do that to us, then I should leave. And you know what? They said, okay, the women can have 3 days in the temple and the men will have 4. On the first day, it rained. And what do you think happened? Huh? Come on, have a guess.
The men all came back in.
What?
The men all came back in.
The men came back in. So now you know how it became divided. Now that you can chant in this temple, is all because Radharani Mataji told me to do it. And from that day on, God, how many years ago that was, then the men that side, the ladies that side. And it's not now, you can even sneak over there to the fire and chat if you want to. It's amazing. So Radha Govardhana Dari, even if you think they're not real, they are real. They're looking after you, even when you could not imagine. But actually they are very conscious that what they are. They're Krishna and Radharani. Never doubted. Prabhupada talks about it all the time, doesn't he? How the deities, do things. When I was in New Zealand, I'd never dressed a deity in my life before, and they wanted me to dress Radha Giridhari. And I dressed Giridhari, and Giridhari clocked me right on the head. And I had a big boiler on my head for a few days after that. So I know they're real. I felt it. So, any more quick questions? Because it's Prasadam at 8:30. Any more quick questions, or want to hear something about Radha Govardhana Dari? Ask. Sorry, Braj. I couldn't help myself. Does anyone want to ask a question or comment something? Is it
What was it like being a little girl on the farm growing up?
For me, it was very delightful. I had a really nice experience growing up on the farm because persons like yourself had made it very nice, and I felt protected and supported and cared for, and I had the opportunity to be innocent and free and play. And it was kind of fun in the sense that you hear stories of Krishna in the forest, or Krishna with the cows, and yeah, we got to enjoy that simple life with a little bit more luxury than you had when the devotees first came. But and to be raised and taught in New Govardhana on the Gurukul, in the Gurukul, where it was Prabhupada focused, and it was learning bhajans and felt, japa class, we chanted japa, or
lots of plays.
lots of dramas,
plays, yeah.
Through dramas and festivals, and it was probably the best, I think.
Yeah, best time you live. My children are like that. They say they were brought up here, and we had to leave because of a situation with the ex-husband. And they'd still say we should have never left there. That this is our home. So when they come here, this is their home. They still remember. You never forget, huh? You were brought up in Jammi Jai's old house. We lived in caravans up the hill there, and then after some years we got given a house down there. And two of my sons were born here. The first child to be born on this farm was my Bimala Prasad, in a caravan. And the other one was born, Nandi was born in that house down the end. And it's all auspicious here, like even at the time when the peacocks were here, when my son was born, they came outside the house, all the way from the temple down to the house, and they crowed. Wah, wah, wah. So it's such a special place, I never ever feel any bad feeling about New Govardhana. I got a bit disappointed when I went to Darwin, and whoever was in charge, there was a few people in charge, and nothing ever happened here. And I'd come here and go, when are they going to do something to this place, And then Ajita came in charge, and then this whole place started to, isn't it? So, yeah, very amazing that time. It was a wonderful, wonderful place. and my children always call it home. Whenever they want to come to New Govardhana, they bring their friends and they take them on a tour. And that house that Nishinga Kavacha's in, there's a wall from the bottom up to the house, a little wall, and all our names are engraved on that wall. And one time my son, he went to the house and he wanted to see the wall, and he asked them if he can have a look, and he couldn't find the names, but they were there, but he couldn't find them, and he was crying. He goes, where are they? Why did they take away the names? And then they went through the whole, the overgrowth on it, and they found them. And he was happy. Yeah, he was born here, that one, the first one. So special of a place. Even though your children, they might go away, get into nonsense, Maya, and do all kinds of crazy things, but they told me, you think we've forgotten Krishna? They said, he's right here. He's right here. So that's amazing. And don't be surprised when you have children and they're born in Krishna consciousness and they've had a really nice training. The really advanced ones don't need to go out there and experience. But most of them will go out there and experience in the material world. And so you're really lucky now. Your children, full-time Krishna consciousness and going to a devotee school, they don't really have to go out there. But in the old days, it was very difficult for the children because there was Gurukul, but once the primary school finished, you were tossed out there, tossed out into the world. And they had to go to Kami school, and a lot of them hated it, and they just left, and then they just got up to nonsense because their home was kind of taken away. Even if they were living here and they had to go out daily to the school, it was taken away from them. And so a lot of them got into Maya, and the kids from the school treated them really bad, laughed at them. What's this Sikha business? Oh, you don't eat meat, and they literally shoved the meat in their mouths. So such things happen. And so they weren't strong enough to be able to cope with that. Like when Pariksit had the first interview here with the media, he said, why are you not insulating? We were insulating our children, but they said, why are we isolating our children from the rest of the world? And Pariksit said, no, we're not isolating them, we're insulating them, helping them to be insulated. So in a way, they getting taken to the Kami school, then they didn't have that insulation. So never think badly about those children that have been into Maya and done nonsense. It's kind of, in a way, because we didn't have the facility. But Radha Govardhanadari, he's still there in their hearts, amazingly enough. So, could tell you lots of things, but I think prasadam's ready. Who's fasting today? No one? Okay. Hare Krishna, I hope I didn't make any offenses to any of you. All glories to our wonderful spiritual father, Srila Prabhupada. And he's not only my spiritual master, he's the spiritual master for the world, and he's your father too. And you can go at any time, watch videos, hear him talk, and read his books. He can be your spiritual father too, which he is. Okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you.